Yeah, he's been excellent. 6 games off, but now, as you said, returns to a place where he's been dominant since his freshman year. Early block from Gianni, near side ball. Rogers, up and down. Well done from number 2, who has stepped into a new role this year. No longer just a serving specialist. He does a whole lot more for this Antelope squad.
It's so impressive because he put his heart and soul into that serving.
Oh, yeah.
And to be able to do what he's been able to do on the offensive end this year, something special.
Rogers, right on cue, steps into that spot. Gianni, tip shot, slides there as well. Hickman, far side. Gianni finds a campfire, middle of the floor. 2-0 early lead for the Lopes. And already, there's just a sense of composure from this GCU team. You see a program, 2-time national champions back in '97 and 2010. The Cardinal come in, and GCU just don't look super phased. Slide ball off the block. Big kill to start things off by Teo Snooey.
Yeah, Rogers and Thorne in the area, just couldn't get that one inside the lines. But they've had some block attempts early here, playing well at the net.
Service from Hill, too much. 3-1 early lead for the Antelopes. And we discussed that a lot before today's game, about how much of a difference does it make complacency-wise. Too much on that one from Rogers. 3-2 now. When you've got a program like a UCLA or USC, you wonder if complacency sneaks in easier because they've been doing it at such a high level for so many years. For a GCU team, this is their first time at the top. They got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, even at 13-0, and they want to continue to do what they've been doing these last couple of months. They've just been dominant.
This is the ranking Grand Canyon's been waiting for. They know they've earned it, and they know that they deserve it. They at least have that passion and belief that they are the #1 team in the country, and they're absolutely going to look to prove that to the country tonight.
Tip off the net on the serve from Thorne. Rogers, another dig, 2 already on the night. Hickman sent down. Thorne goes far side, Gianni. Nathan Litsky to the back row. Rogers, a third dig. Slight pokes it over. Free ball for the Cardinal. Can they capitalize? Blocked again defensively. The Lopes stingy so far tonight. Rotman, Thorne's there again. First long rally of tonight's match. Gianni tipped off the block. Net violation point to Stanford. Gianni got a little over ambitious.
Gianni's just so impressive. He can float through the air and just understand exactly where the holes in that defense are, and usually can find exactly how to get to it somehow over the outstretched arms there, just into the net.
Rotman with a little roll shot serve. Wardlow, that is a rarity right there, folks. We'll touch on that after this point. Hickman jumps over Nick Slide on the ground. Gianni's denied. Rogers gets to it. Jackson Hickman, roll shot, kept alive by Rotman. Sent down, well done, Jackson Hickman. Well, that ball at the beginning of that rally was a Rico Wardlow kill attempt, and the reason I say that's a rarity for that to be dug up, he's hitting .556 right now, which would be the program record. Who has that record, Braden? Rico Wardlow from last year, .536, 191 kills. It's not like he did it with 20 kills. No. 191, almost 200 club. Excellent work from Wardlow. And right on cue, blocks it down, but no tip off that block, so it's going to be a point to Stanford. These players so far tonight, I think they've got ear chips in. They hear us talking about them.
Right.
Immediately.
They go to them. They go to them immediately. Nick Slight's always so kind to get it to the guys we're talking about.
Yeah. Service now from Nathaniel Gates. Wardlow blocked again, so far not successful tonight. Rogers, Wardlow. Gianni just sets it to the Cardinal. Back corner ball, perfect. That time from Ethan Hill.
Just that perfect quick ball to Hill, and absolutely rips it down the seam for the point. We're all tied up.
Gates again. Kerber Hernan just misjudged it. Got to know where you are on the floor, and right there, just a little out of character for Herndon. Rocking that purple libero jersey tonight. Crisp. Gates in a rhythm right now from behind that service line. Gianni looking to get in a rhythm, but he's denied. Alex Rotman, that time rises and denies. Well done. The lead quickly shifting to Stanford. They've been here before. They don't have any nerves either.
I mean, how prepared are they going to be for playoff volleyball? I mean, every single game has been a ranked opponent. It's nuts. I've never seen anything like it.
And that's all film right there from Carter Rogers. Kind of a awkward ball just being played around, and Rogers understands when the Stanford defense steps up to the net, a lot of space in those back corners. Places it perfectly for a zone 5 kill. Service from Hickman. Litsky poked over. Herndon better this time. Gianni somehow puts it in a good spot for Rogers. Are you kidding me with that? Captain Rogers ties this thing up at 7 apiece, but it's really this assist right there from Camden Gianni. Diving from the back row, finds a way to put it into a spot for Rogers, who capitalizes. Free ball for the Lopes. Slight, Wardlow, there it is. That hitting percentage was dipping for Rico Wardlow, and he said, I'm not a fan of that.
I mean, you don't see that slide ball fail too often to Wardlow.
Nope.
The timing between those two is just top in the nation, and he puts it down.
Hickman, another good serve. Litschke, back row, too much. It's a game of runs so far. Usually the Lopes play a lot of back and forth ball, but right now it's been 4 straight for the Lopes, 3 straight for the Cardinal, back and forth.
And this run in part to Jackson Hickman's serving abilities. A lot of fits for Stanford.
Sent down, kept alive this time though from Snooey. Attempt again, Herndon somehow keeps that ball alive. Looked like a double hit. Gianni tip off the block. Litsky's there again. Near side ball. Snooey denied. The libero, Luke Turner finds it. Back to Snooey, kept alive again. Lopes defensively playing out of their minds. Slight with a kill attempt. You don't see that often. And that is just a miss hit right into the net from Snooey. And the Lopes just like that, up 3.
Maybe a slow start offensively at the net for Grand Canyon, but their defense and these fantastic digs with that back row have kept them in it, and they're on a big run here.
Hickman has been fantastic from behind the service line to start things off. Teo Snooey says, let's take a moment and calm down. Big kill right there. These things snowball quickly when you're playing a good team like GCU. Cannot afford to let that happen in this first set.
Snooey's got some heat behind that thing.
Both of these teams serve fairly aggressively. Not a whole lot of fear from behind that service line. Wardlow now with the serve. Litsky, 1-2 ball quickly to Ethan Hill, something we see from Slight and Cameron Thorne or Rico Wardlow quite a bit.
Grand Canyon's gonna need to figure out a way to get to that quick ball to Hill. He's been 2 for 2 on it tonight, and they weren't particularly close to getting to the ball.
Rogers keeps it alive. Slight, back row. Gianni, too much. Rare miscue from number 1. Serve from Rotman, right at Rogers again. Slight. Back row, Hickman trying to stunt this small Stanford run. Hickman again. Stanford still denying it. Rotman off of the head of Rogers. Hickman gets there. Herndon, good spot for Rogers. Into the net. Don't believe there was a block. Looked like it went straight into the net. Gonna be a free ball for Stanford. Rotman, Herndon, what a dig
Yeah.
that is. Gianni, right back to the Lopes. Herndon, a big chance here. Thorne! I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Stanford challenge here. We thought maybe that ball didn't touch a Cardinal. And we will see the challenge card. And never mind.
Yeah, he asked his team, and it sounds like they thought everything was right with that play. How about Cooper Herndon's dig, kind of resetting that play? It seemed like Stanford had all the momentum.
Those are two huge points. I tell you what, you're so right about that Herndon dig, because if Stanford gets that, we're looking at a tied first set and all of the momentum, 4 straight points for Stanford, and instead it's 3 straight for the Lopes. Momentum back to the home squad. Litsky, Rotman, blocked by Thorne. Litsky out of nowhere puts too much on it. I don't hate that though.
Not at all. I mean, it's worked for Litsky early on.
And with that, we will take our first media timeout of the night as Stanford takes time. 14-10, Lopes up early. Stick with us. Lots more volleyball to come on ESPN+.
Graduation team, led by your own university counselor. Find your purpose at GCU. Private, Christian, affordable. Visit GCU.
Quite control that one.
So there's Snooey again, kind of been the guy that's just been able to stop the momentum early on, because Grand Canyon has gone on a couple of runs. Like early on, we're seeing an emphasis on the defensive ends from both teams to take away the outside hitters in Rotman and Gianni. Two guys that are very capable of eating early on, that have been held to a minimum. We're still waiting to see our first Will Rotman kill, and just 1 for 9 for Camden Gianni.
Well, there's not a science, or a spoof behind the fact that we talk about the importance of serving so much. Stanford down 4, and they've got 4 service errors.
Right.
Rotman denied again. Yeah, he just can't find a groove right now. But that's the difference right now. Service errors so crucial. Serving in general so crucial, but these errors have just been a major point of emphasis for both sides. GCU has cleaned it up as of late. Slight, Thorne, are you kidding me? Slight nearly on the other side of the net, pokes it back to Thorne. And you see Thorne go and give him all the credit right there.
Slight is just so athletic, and that's just a play we see so often that they can just pull off night in and night out. Nick Slight, he might be the only guy I've seen do that.
Not your everyday assist right there. Far side ball, Snooey, Slight keeps it up. He's doing everything he can to keep the Lopes alive right now and in the lead, 16-13. First kill of the night for Will Rotman. Maybe that gets him into a little bit of a groove.
Definitely known as a power guy, but if you can just get one by laying it down that line, you'll take it every day of the week.
Rotman enters tonight, 111 kills. Missed those 6 games, but still leading the team in Ks. Net violation on the attacking Alex Rotman. So ball back to the Antelopes. Not only does Rotman have those kill stats, 14 service aces, 35 digs, 22 kills against his hometown team, UC Santa Barbara, on January 12th. Rotman right at Carter Rogers, who snatches the ball up. 14-17 now. Stanford just got to find a way to slowly chip away at this first set. So important in the sport of volleyball.
How exciting for the Rotman family to get Alex way involved, especially with the absence of his older brother. Now we're seeing them both on the court at the same time. They're going to be a big impact players moving towards the end of this season.
Gianni that time finds a gap in the block. Picks up his second kill tonight, hitting in the negatives right now, but that'll help.
Well, he's not a guy that's just going to give up when things aren't working out. He can score from anywhere on the court, and just went straight through that block.
Feels like he just got here. but now slowly turned into a veteran. He's one of those guys now that just doesn't have the, not only the heavy hitting power, but just the composure and the smarts. Ooh, that one really close to that back corner. Gianni certainly thought he painted the tape, but just an inch or two out.
Coach Matt Worley's gonna keep his challenge for now.
Herndon, slight. Rogers is denied. Nathan Litsky, the setter, rises up and says no. What a play to cut this thing to just 2 in this first set.
He was fired up about that one. Just a solo block straight down, textbook stuff from Litsky.
And then into the net. A momentum killer for Teo Snui. Well, we talked about that play being a almost out. Obviously, the refs have the final call on that. Can you name me the one high school sport where you call your own ins and outs, Braden?
Oh.
Rico Wardlow, tip off the net. I'll let you think on that, Braden. Slight to Gianni. Well done. Right at Luke Turner. My sister, shout out, played collegiately this sport.
Tennis.
It's tennis.
It's tennis.
High school, you call your own ins and outs, and it's kind of a class thing where if you think you got a kill, so we got some guys on our team that love the bright lights and we know what we do when we need to do it. We don't really care about the ranking. We don't care for 1, 2, 7. At the end of the day, we're gonna go out and play GCU volleyball. And right now you can see that they just seem consistently composed, not making as many mistakes as they did in previous years. Back corner, big kill.
One thing that's been consistent with this team is the swagger that each of these players possess. And if you give them a #1 ranking on top of that, they're gonna play out of their minds night in and night out.
Chris Kelly, 6'2" setter out of El Segundo, California. El Segundo High School now into the game to serve for the first time tonight. Cooper Herndon makes a poor play and then makes up for it. Carter Rogers is denied again. Nathan Litsky doing a little bit of chatting down there. You see that a lot at these highest levels. These guys play with so much passion and fire. And right there, you make a good play, you might as well back it up.
You got Rogers twice in a row now. He's gonna say, hey, keep coming to me. I'm gonna keep taking care of business. Rogers had early success with 3 kills right off the bat. They're gonna focus on Rogers. Let's go right down the middle.
You know what I love? Carter Rogers is not a very confrontational guy. He's not gonna go out there and yell right back in your face, but his teammates, they've got his back. Cameron Thorne, a huge kill, and who does he stare down? Nathan Litsky. These guys love playing volleyball with each other, and you can see it on the court, on their faces. Gianni picks up that one. Right back to Gianni. Just plays it into the block, which goes into the antenna. 22-18, 4-point advantage. And again, you can just tell this Lopes team just has something a little bit different about him this year. Litsky, far side ball, Rotman. That's what he does, folks, and he hasn't shown it so far tonight. That's just his 3rd kill. But he's one of those players that, like a Cameron Gianni, like a Cameron Thorne, he gets going, watch out.
That cross-court ball is so hard to stop if he gets all of it.
Gianni, tip over the block, well done. The depth on full display right now for the Antelopes. We talked about that as well. When you've got guys like Cameron Thorne and Rico Wardlow splitting minutes at this point, yeah. I mean, what a luxury that is to have, but also a frustration for the players. You're like, I know I'm so talented and should be playing, but it's almost like, hey, we're doing it for the team. I don't even care about my own statistics.
And I think that's the point that this team's gotten to, which is just huge for Matt Worley's squad. For Stanford right now, this is the time. You've got, if you want any chance of this first set, you've got to make your run right now rather than put it in GCU's service hands.
Litsky, in a big moment, delivers a good serve. Slight out of rotation to Hickman. Back corner kept alive. Well done by Rotman. To the other Rotman. Thorne says no. Litsky just plays it over. Big chance here. Gianni, well done. 24-20. Lopes a point away from a first set victory and building momentum quickly.
Well, Gianni might have had a slow start in this set, but he has turned it on. 6 kills in this set now, and final point.
Jordan Lucas in a much different role this year, looking to close out this first set. Matt Worley's squad would love a first set victory over a team that is developing into a rival. Up and down, Rico Wardlow says no. A beautiful block to finish off this first set. It was back and forth, but the Lopes felt like they were in control for most of it.
You couldn't have said it better. I mean, they're really, the tournament is, it's the best league in this sport, and they've proven that time in and time out. UCLA winning the national championship last year. I think we're going to get, hopefully, another national champion from this conference again this year.
Yeah, the Mountain Pacific Sports Federation, just one of those areas where things are different. Thorne, Rogers, 3 jousts in a row. Far side ball, Gianni. What a play defensively that is. Litsky plays it over. This would be a heartbreaker, and it is. Jackson Hickman to the back corner. You come out of the timeout, Stanford a chance to claim the first point, and GCU tears your heart out.
That was just beautiful. I mean, complete flow with that offense. It looked like Thorne was going to take it from the middle, and incoming Jackson Hickman from the back row.
Rotman finds a good spot.
I mean, for Stanford, it's going to be a challenge to win one set in general. I mean, Grand Canyon's dropped 4 sets total this season. They have not dropped more than 1 set in a single game. It's a tall task coming in here.
No 5-setters yet for the Lopes, which is almost a little scary because you don't have the experience, but it's a good issue to have when you haven't taken a game to 5 sets. 2-1, and the Lopes now reclaim the lead. It's Thorne, Rogers, Slight, Gianni, Hickman, Wardlow right now for the Antelopes. Snooey, Rotman, Hill, Gates, Litsky, and Kelly. Back corner ball, well done. Teo Snooey leads both sides, tied with 6 kills alongside Cam and Gianni. Percentages very similar as well.
I mean, after that first set, Grand Canyon won that set with a 200 hit percentage.
Yeah.
The other side, Stanford, just at 122. It's been a defensive, gruel it out kind of game today.
Which, at this point, you'd like to think favors the Lopes if you're a GCU fan. Rocking with the former MPSF Defensive Player of the Week in Cameron Thorne, who's not in the game right now.
Well, his counterpart at that middle block position, Rico Wardlow, with a quick 3 blocks in that first set. I like the emphasis on getting Jackson Hickman involved. He had no kills in that first set. Ripped 2 off right off the bat here in set number 2.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's just frustrating when you feel like you've put in the work. You get Cameron Thorne on the bench, and then, oh, never mind, here's Rico Wardlow. And Nick Slight, that is the facet of his game that is unlike any other player in the country. Nick Slight is just so much stronger than it appears, and especially in that setter position, he's just so talented in so many different areas.
Slight has this crazy way of mixing precision with power. I mean, his spots are always precise, but he does have that power that you don't expect.
Rotman from the back row. You start to see that kind of anger that Rotman plays with once he gets going. Tied things up at 4 apiece here. We said he was quiet, and now he's already up to 6 kills to tie Gianni. Stanford pretty confident they're going to win this challenge as the green card we see for the first time tonight.
Well, that one looked like it was in. Line judge clearly with the best angle, so got to trust definitely some big names out there, and GCU's just finding ways to. Wow, that point's actually going to go to Grand Canyon. Call's going to stand, meaning maybe not enough evidence to overturn it. In this sport of men's volleyball, it is just so quick. Like, literally cameras can't even capture it sometimes.
You see the down ref there telling head coach John Costi that it's very, very close, but just narrowly not enough information to turn that call. Wardlow with a good serve. Litsky to the back row. Jackson Hickman falling on his back. Can't quite keep that one alive. Alex Rotman now to serve. Slight far side to Rogers, sent down. Hickman once more. Rogers roll shot. Rotman throws it over. Back row, Gianni contorts his body to find the ball. Slight. Rogers denied again. Tell you what, Nathan Litsky has the number of Carter Rogers right now. A lot of conversations taking place at the net.
You just wonder if that net's enough to block him, you know,
yeah.
from taking it physical. I mean, these guys are jawing back and forth right now, and it's going to fire both squads up. I know it's all just going to be in good fun from both sides, but as you said, Carter Rogers has some teammates that are not going to take that lightly.
Litsky, 16 kills to Slight's 5, but he's got 3 blocks, all 3 on Carter Rogers. Cameron Thorne ties us up at 6 once more. Carter Rogers doing it on both sides as well. He's got 3 kills, a block, and 4 digs as well. So he's not had the better half of the matchup against Litsky, but he's still having himself a night. That is just a miss hit on the serve from Litsky. You can see him immediately head over to Alex Rotman and say, my bad, my mistake. Slight. Set down, Thorne and Rogers are both there. I think Rogers got to it. 3 arise again, and Slight steps up to control. To Gianni, through the block. Rotman tipped off. Rogers can't get there. So back to 7-7, and this one feeling a little bit more like a GCU matchup we've seen throughout the year, these back and forth points.
Stanford starting to get settled in here, set number 2. Figuring out the different areas Nick Slight will attack. And of course, he's always got more in that bag, but if you're Stanford, you got to find a way to limit these errors. GCU clearly with the advantage here. Just 2 service errors compared to the 8 from Stanford.
I mean, that really is the difference right now. Rogers with a beautiful roll shot serve. Litsky gets there. Back blocked by Thorne. Herndon is there on his knees. Far side, Hickman. Back corner kept alive by Snooey. Rotman, 3 lopes up to it. Hickman falls off the block. Gianni. Somehow, Luke Turner gets there. Free ball for the Lopes. Quick ball, Thorne, up and down, perfect. 9-7 goes the lead. Antelopes trying to take control of this second set like they did the first.
And in this sport, there are points that just mean a bit more than others. And after a long rally like that one, to finish it off with a clean kill from Thorne, that one's gonna feel real good.
Rogers, I mean, the margin for error on that serve is out of this world. I think nearly hits the rafters every time he throws it up.
And Stanford knows that. I mean, they know the power and the precision he has on that serve. So when he can do hit the rollover serve, it's just, what are you supposed to do?
Carter Rogers, his progression since last year and the year before is one of the coolest stories about this team. As a 9th service error, this time from Nathan Litsky. You saw the work. You saw at the practices Carter Rogers again and again and again putting in the work to be that serving specialist that the Lopes need the past couple of years. But this year, stepping into a new role, his service errors have dipped significantly and his aces have gone up. And that's just your work paying off. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. That is a Kevin Durant Thunderstruck 2009 movie reference, Braden.
What a movie. What a movie.
That's a niche reference. Give yourself some points if you got that reference back home. Service ace this time from Will Rotman.
And that's where the payoff is. I mean, the aggressive serves that Stanford has clearly shown they're going to go to time and time again. A guy like Rotman has been one of these players for Stanford that has excelled with that aggressive serve.
Slight to Gianni, looking for the back corner, but too much. Jackson Hickman believes there was a tip, so Matt Worley will pull the challenge card. Conversation with the down ref, possibly debating something that can't be challenged. But apparently it can, because the Lopes will challenge this one. 10-11.
We're early, but they haven't been able to go back to him either. Honestly, a lot of momentum on the Stanford side right now, and it'll just continue with the point going to the Cardinal.
Call on the floor remains, so Will Rotman, after 4 straight Stanford points, heads back to serve for the red and white. The all-black unis I am a fan of, Braden.
No, they're crisp.
Cooper Herndon can't deal with that ball, so that's 2 service aces on the night now for Rotman. 3 for his squad. Roll shot this time, slight to Wardlow, set down, well done. That ball was nearly out as well, but just barely nicked the outside line. So 12-11, that's a big point because you were looking at a 3-point Stanford advantage. And now Camden Gianni looking to get a service ace of his own. Right at Alex Rotman. Back to Rotman. Slight to Wardlow, denied. Slight, Wardlow again, mishits it into the net, so 13-11. Lopes defensively still doing a good job of getting opportunities. Just can't capitalize in this second set right now.
Yeah, on that second attempt for Wardlow, just found himself a little too far off the net. Tried to give him a different look, and to no avail.
Gianni, tip off the block, well done. 13-12, looks like every chance Stanford has to slightly pull away, the Lopes find a way to keep it within reach.
It's what winning teams do. They don't put themselves in holes. Yeah, I mean, they are comfortable, if anything, in these back and forth battles.
Rogers! 13-13 after a demolition showcase right there from KR. What a play.
Litsky was turning around looking for the ball, and all of a sudden Rogers finally got his revenge on him. You see Litsky falls, and we're all tied up here at 13.
And that's what I love about the character of Carter Rogers, too. Just a great play and turns around. Has no interest in doing any smack. Far side Rogers, can he do it again? He can! Rogers on a roll. 14-13.
Oh, nothing's getting to Carter Rogers right now, and after an absolute rocket, he just goes with the finesse shot and again puts it in the corner. His second kill of that nature.
Hickman. A service ace from Jackson. Hickman will send us to the media timeout. 15-13. It was looking weary for the exclusively searched out brands with the acronym GCU. That's what you're saying, Greg.
They might have. They might have. I don't know. But man, it sure fits, doesn't it?
It sure fits, Braden. Hickman to get things going here in the second half of the second set. No luck for Rotman on that one.
Felt like great timing for Stanford for that 15-point timeout. They needed it. They might have called one on their own if it hadn't been.
Yeah, they got lucky right there in a moment where the tide was turning. Too much. Something so nonchalant about the Lopes when they know what ball's out. They don't even watch it go out. They just kind of, okay, on to the next play. And right now they're used to it. Double-digit service errors already through a set and a half. And that has really been the story of the night so far.
I like this lineup here. You got Wardlow and Thorne in at the same time.
Gianni in a good spot. Slight. Rogers, can he make do? Still alive from Litsky. Rotman, set down! Cameron Thorne, he's the MPSF Defensive Player of the Week for a reason. Number 8, showcasing why that award has his name written all over it.
And he just has that fire that this team almost needs just in the middle of their lineup. Doing it on both the offensive and defensive ends.
Wardlow right at Turner. Far side ball. Snooey just sends it over. Wardlow couldn't quite control it. 17-15. Awkward back and forth in that sequence.
Definitely had Grand Canyon out of system, but still a good opportunity. Hickman not happy with himself. Wanted to be able to get that one to Slight.
Herndon. It's a Slight to Hickman. That's off his foot. That's alive. Rotman denied again. Big chance here for Stanford with some luck. Gianni keeps it alive. Slight. Oh, debates jumping into the Havoc student section. And I would say makes a career decision right there and avoids jumping over the fans. Probably a smart move.
Well, if any student section is going to catch him, it's probably the Lopes, but.
And I believe coming from the back row. And the Lopes look over and say, fair play. A couple of thumbs up from both Herndon and Gianni saying, hey, what are you going to do? That's one of those things where you don't want to take anything away from Stanford, but certainly a bit of luck involved. I think his foot was pretty much firmly placed in the ground. I don't know that he moved it over to make the play. I want to give credit to whoever it was. Couldn't quite get a replay. That's near side to Gianni. That one not off the foot. 18-16.
Well, Snooey saying that one was on him because I do think it was Teo Snooey who got his foot on that previous play. But again, just when momentum may be swinging in the other direction, here comes Grand Canyon.
Rotman kept alive, and I actually think if Cameron Thorne wouldn't have touched that ball, Gianni might have had a chance to keep it alive.
You got Rotman working back and forth between the opposite and the outside positions.
Service now coming from Theron Briette. Theron, what a name that is.
Looks like a little blood on the knee of Cameron Thorne. Couldn't get away with that one because he's got the white leggings on.
Well, if there's any doubt that these players are giving it their all right now, let that be the proof. Cameron Thorne fighting for everything right now as the Lopes look to extend their second set lead. You definitely don't want to give up this second set to a Stanford team that has all the firepower they need to turn this into a match. Back row, Hickman says, oh, the momentum is building. Let me snuff that fire.
And they're talking right back to him. Rotman standing up for his team after Hickman definitely letting him know.
Yeah, we say that Carter Rogers is one of those guys that maybe he's not doing a whole lot of chirping. That's not to say that there aren't players on this squad that will give a word or two to the other team. But that's just all a part of the competitive nature, especially at the top level. All these guys know each other. I mean, on both these sides, multiple teammates from high school and previously. At this circuit, there are guys that have been playing together at the club level all the way back to before middle school at training camps and things like that. It feels like 90% of these guys from California, where the sport has continued to bloom over the past couple of decades. And so there's competitiveness, but there's a mutual respect across all these teams. Rotman, back corner ball. The extended discussion turns into a Stanford Cardinal point. And it's 19-18. The biggest juncture of the night is right here.
That's got to feel good for Will Rotman to get right back at this Lopes team. And you can also see these students on the sidelines trying to get in the heads of the Stanford Cardinal.
Slight to Hickman, denied! That's the play of the match so far. An absolute denial from Teo Snooey, who's making his case for player of the night. 9 kills, 5 digs, add a block. 19 apiece. We got a game here. Litsky to serve, right at Herndon. Slight to Gianni, tip off the block, still alive from Snooey. Back row attack, Rotman! It's Alex this time. And Stanford claims the lead now.
Well, after that little scuffle of sorts, I think it fired this Stanford team up. I'm excited to watch the rest of this match unfold.
Well, if you're Stanford too, you say, oh, GCU, you got that #1 ranking? We've been there a couple times. Let me show you what it looks like to be a top program. Rotman puts it down, 21-19, 4 straight. And a Matt Worley timeout, most likely incoming, and there it is. (21-19). Stanford with the advantage. We will take one, give them a 2-point advantage back in this matchup.
So far tonight, Grand Canyon's found a way to even things out after these small runs from Stanford. We'll see if that remains true here as we're in crunch time in set number 2.
Would be just their 5th game of the year that goes into 4 sets if Stanford gets it done. Thorne out of the timeout. Stanford controls. Snooey is denied! Cameron Thorne says no. 21-20. That's, oh my goodness, that is such a big play from Cameron Thorne.
And he knew it. You could just tell the emotion behind that block. What a point it was. And just one serve away from tying this thing up.
Jordan Lucas in once more to make an impact from behind the service line. Rotman, big kill. Slight frustrated with the rotation of his squad right there, and lead back up to 2, and Rotman back to serve. It's not who you want behind the line if you are a GCU fan.
It's a big point for Grand Canyon.
Tip off the net, Rogers finds a way to deal with it. Far side, Hickman gets a kill.
Stanford again thinking that one was out. From my vantage point, I'd probably agree.
I think Luke Turner maybe nicked his arm as the ball was going out. It looked like he motioned to his head coach. Nope, that one's on me. Maybe tried to get out of the way last second, but couldn't. Gianni, is it an ace? What a play that is from Litsky. Goes under the net and across the side to keep it alive. And Gianni says, you want a highlight? This is my highlight. 22-22. Gianni ties it up, but what a play from Nathan Litsky. Are you kidding me with that? I didn't even know that was legal, Braden.
I mean, that was an awesome play, but this is where Gianni can separate himself. He is so capable at just being that closer of sorts, and especially if you put him at service near the end of a set.
The Thunder and Hurt Pep Band is roaring here in the Global Credit Union Arena. Looking at around 2,000 to 3,000 fans packed in here. GCU men's volleyball squad moved to the GCU Arena last season after previously playing all their matches in the Antelope Gymnasium on the west side of campus. Big serve from Gianni, a deep breath, tip off the net. Luke Turner controls. Litsky. Rogers up, Slight up. Gianni from the back row, just hits it. Just didn't have enough. 23-22. It wasn't how the Cardinal were hoping to get that point, but it is a point nonetheless. And now a name we haven't touched on as much as we thought we would. Nathaniel Gates, the block leader for this squad. behind the line. Herndon, slight to Hickman, awkward positioning. Herndon, slight, Wardlow sends it down. We're tied again. And that is the composure of Nick Slight in these tough moments. If he's gonna look for somebody, he's gonna look for his middle blocker spot. Enrico Wardlow does well.
Well, going into that play, just 167 hit percentage for Wardlow, but you gotta go back to Mr. Reliable.
Hickman. Back row, Rotman. Hickman can't control it. We might be looking at extra points here if GCU can pick up this one. 24-23. And now
so many teams just having trouble closing this Lopes team out. And Matt
continuing to rise. A lot of these people in here maybe never watched a men's volleyball game before and are becoming new fans, especially the younger audience. There's nothing more you can hope for.
It's matches like these that are going to bring these fans back, which is awesome for the sport. I will say Matt Worley was talking to Nick Slight in that timeout. We'll see where they decide to go here.
Slight to Wardlow. He's the hitting percentage record leader for a reason, folks. .536 last year. And now, in a very big moment, Jared Anderson's gonna check in. Jared Anderson did this last weekend against USC. We'll see if the former Springfield College athlete can come in a clutch moment. And too much from Anderson. So right back to the Cardinal. But I love that from Matt Worley, bringing in a younger guy and say, hey, we're going to trust you in these moments. It's a learning moment.
Totally. I mean, you got to have him in positions like these to be ready for positions like that in the postseason.
Alex Rotman to serve. Into the net. And Anderson and the Lopes breathe a sigh of relief. Now Matt Worley trusting Cameron Thorne above Rico Wardlow this time.
Fans are really getting into it now.
Slight. Litsky. Herndon cannot get there. Stanford the lead again. Ethan Hill this time to serve. Set point. Slight to Thorne. Power shot, kill shot. 26-26. Back and forth. We said we were probably aiming for extra points, and here we are. We've arrived.
Stanford's got to find a way to step in front of that middle ball because, my goodness, that quick ball to Thorne, almost unstoppable.
Woo! Captain Rogers takes his moment. 27-26. The tip off the net. It's awkward.
He meant to do that. He meant to do that, Houston.
Deo Snooey just, you can see he went to want Camden Gianni. You don't want, it's kind of a pick your poison moment if you're Stanford. You're going to have to deal with somebody. Nick Slight, Gianni, Hickman, everybody goes to Carter Rogers. Daps him up, as the kids say. Close it out, son. Rocking the Kobe's, if I'm not mistaken. Had a conversation with the team a while back about, is there a volleyball shoe? Do you wear basketball shoes? We'll touch on that later, Brandon. We got more important things right now. Rogers to end it. Roll shot serve instead. Litsky, Rotman, denied! Cameron Thorne! Woohoo! The energy is high. It's electric in the Global Credit Union Arena. What a play on one. Knowing, hey, we've still got our best volleyball to play in set number 3. Or is it a little bit of, man, we haven't been playing super great. Maybe Stanford has a little bit more in the tank than we do, and they'll see what they can do. But I think from an emotional standpoint, it's just frustration you're feeling after feeling like you fought so much just to not win that.
I mean, I totally agree. Grand Canyon's got better volleyball to play, whether it's tonight or on Sunday. But last thing you want to do is show that better volleyball off, you know, in set number 4. They want to take care of business in straight sets and get ready for Sunday.
Carter Rogers was the man of that second set. A lot of back and forth talk between himself and Nathan Litsky. Pretty one way, actually, I would say. Carter Rogers didn't do a whole lot of talking. He did do a whole lot of playmaking, though. And ultimately, Cameron Thorne with 2 major blocks to end out that second set and pull off a 28-26 victory, in which the second half of set number 2, they trailed for a significant portion. And now they're at a point where they got a chance to close things out in this third set. 4 sets dropped all year, Braden. That's quite the statistic.
And I agree. It could be a little worrisome when MPSF play that we're in MPSF play, but MPSF tournament, and then you get to the NCAA tournament, where it's just not going to be the case when you're taking teams out in straight sets. Are they going to be ready for that moment? Who knows? But again, as you mentioned, a great problem to have.
And that right there, if you are Carter Rogers and the Lopes, is the one thing that can negate you from winning this match. It's service errors. They've done an excellent job so far tonight, just 3. Stanford with 11. Tip off the block and out. Ties things up 1 apiece early in set number 3. But you just have to find a way to stay consistent behind that service line, because you know Matt Worley's going to allow you to stay aggressive.
Certainly, and they've done it better tonight. And I agree, it's been almost the difference in these first 2 sets.
Litsky, slide ball. Snooey can't find the back corner, so 2-1. And if you're GCU too, you almost wonder, we've seen this a lot where GCU will fight and fight and fight in sets 1 and 2. And then that third set, they put the pieces together and it's not as close. Stanford, though, not a squad that gets blown out in any capacity. Slight frustrated with himself right there. Just a rare miscue from number 7.
Not maybe the best lip reader in the world, but it just seemed like Will Rotman said, feed me. He wants this moment. Up to 13 kills, which leads all scorers across both teams. They're going to need to rely heavily on Will here in set number 3.
Slight to Gianni. What a play from Alex Rotman to keep it alive, and he dives into the front row. The Lopes are going to get a point, and Alex Rotman right down in front of me is leaning against this pole, and I am hoping and praying that he didn't sustain an injury, getting helped up by his teammates right now. Right there. It wasn't the stairs that he rolled into, but kind of because of that fall. Well, you hope that's not too much of a major injury, because he's one of those guys they're going to need down the stretch.
Totally.
Getting checked out on the sideline right now. You hoping that he'll be all right. 3-2 in this third set as we move forward. Camden Gianni, that patented serve, too much. Just looking to paint the tape right down Broadway, but can't.
Almost a kind of a deafening silence in the arena right now. These players are going to have to build this energy right back up with their play, and they will.
Yeah, it's kind of the last thing you need from Stanford. What a play from Nick Slight. And then Hickman sends it over. Far side ball from a newcomer into tonight's matchup. That's Ryan DeRoss. Nick Slight, I don't know how his back was turned to the net. You almost wonder if Herndon just said, put your arm out.
Right. And
he finds a way to keep the ball alive. Lopes couldn't capitalize, though. Rotman. Slight slide ball. Gianni. Perfect, but it's even more perfect defense. Hickman can't deal with that one. Tell you what, Teo Snooey's been making plays like that all night long, though, just getting a hand to things and keeping the ball alive.
He's made his presence known in this game, at the net especially. And I mean, early on was the scorer for this Cardinal squad. Still 8 kills.
DeRoss, deny. Nick Slight, the setter, showing off the hops. 5-4 here in Phoenix.
Just perfect form on that block as well, right up against that line. You can't go at him with the straight arms. He makes sure to curve that ball right back into play.
Gianni with a great play. Hickman looking to avoid what just happened to Stanford. Litsky, back row attack. Rotman, Herndon want to play. Rogers, that's just unlucky. It's right at the up ref. Just the only way Carter Rogers was getting that is if he ran through the up ref, and I'm not sure that's legal, Braden.
Probably not.
I don't know that there's an official rule book title for that, but I'm going to assume that probably not the best thing to happen on a volleyball court. Herndon to Slight. Quick ball to Wardlow. And Rotman just missed it. You see him tap his chest, say, my bad. That one, more than enough time to deal with it. But just couldn't control it. May have been a little off,
right? But he still finds a way to get to it. The guy's wingspan just puts him at such an advantage, and the skill behind it is just unreal.
Wardlow didn't have a great start to the night, but he has quickly grown above his average. Good hit right there. Well done from Nathaniel Gates. Just his second kill tonight. One of those guys that if they can unleash him a little bit, the tides might be able to turn a little bit. Snooey to serve again. Into the net. 12th of the night, doubling the service error count of the purple and white. Lopes are leading in every category except for aces. A couple more blocks, hitting a better percentage, although it's pretty close. Slight elbows that one out of play, 7-7 now.
Slight is he's his own biggest hypocrite, or not hypocrite, but I mean, he just gets so angry at himself when he makes the small mistakes, but he tends to turn it around and make quite the play on the other end.
Awkward hit on the receivance from Gianni, so an 8-7 advantage now for Stanford.
All because of DeRoss's serve.
He might not have the name Will Rotman, but it's a guy that the Lopes haven't seen a whole lot of. He's making an impact. It's Cameron Thorne, speaking of making an impact.
Yeah, 7 for 8.
Yeah.
On his kills to attempts.
I would say that's all right. Had a 13 kill night the other night, which got him our player of the match. He's looking to reproduce that. Rogers, Slight, far side, ball to Hickman, cross court. Thorne just says, it's in a good spot. There's no reason for me to overcomplicate this, and just pokes it down. And the Lopes reclaim their lead.
Probably no reason to go away from Cameron Thorne at this point. 8 for 9 clip.
We've been waiting for it. The setter dump finally comes. Nathan Litsky looks like he got shot out of a cannon. He's just running around the court, happy with himself right there.
Yeah, that was pretty.
Just dodging teammates. Nathaniel Gates. Slight, the fake hit from Thorne. The actual hit from Hickman works out. 10-9. Cameron Thorne back to serve.
And how deadly is that on the offensive end? To go to Thorne a couple times early on in this set, he's just dominating at that middle spot. And then you fake one out to him, and Hickman takes care of business.
Slight really believes that he got to that ball, but I don't think Matt Worley is going to challenge it. Slight typically pretty loud in his voice about whether or not he thinks he made a play, but right there, not giving it to the ear of Matt Worley. Pretty confident. He thinks that one touched the ground. Litsky into the net. That is Litsky's 4th service error of the night.
And I'll say that setter dump play, it always catches the team off guard. But I love Litsky going right back, not necessarily to a setter dump, but goes for the kill himself on the play right after. That might be more of a catching off guard.
Camden Gianni, we hadn't really touched on his services a whole lot tonight. But right now he's trying to get us to talk about it more. Enters tonight with 28, give him his 29th right there. 49 service errors on the year. He wants back-to-back right here, and instead into the net.
So here comes another ace guy here.
Hernan deals with it well. Back row, Gianni off the block. Gianni has always been a power hitter, but much more in his freshman year, he relied on the power a lot more.
Yeah.
And he just tried to continuously power it through the block. He's done a much better job the past couple of years improving his skill on his placement. So excellent now in finding the gaps in the block as opposed to just trying to shove it through. 13-12.
DeRoss with one of the cleaner kills we've seen all night from Stanford. Good implementation of him into the lineup here in set number 3.
Hill nearly puts it over. Gianni from the back row. Hernan couldn't quite get there. And Stanford ties things up once more. Well, it's one of those sets you think to yourself, GCU feels in control, but if Stanford finds a way to win it, then you get a little nervy as you head to the 4th and a possible 5th, which would be the first 5th set of the year for Grand Canyon. And Wardlow quiets things down.
That quick ball just seems like free points for Grand Canyon, and every time they've needed that point, whether it was down 24-25 late in set number 2 or Stanford goes on a little run, they go to Wardlow, they go to Thorne, and it just has not failed them too often.
It's a cheat code. Cameron Thorne, Rico Wardlow hitting a point or a combine after, forget that, what a play. Cameron Thorne pokes it over, free ball for the Cardinal, and it is off of Cameron Thorne and into the net and down. Point Stanford. To revisit that, Wardlow and Cameron Thorne hitting a combined .767 right now. Can't ask for much better than that from your 2 middle blockers. Herndon, what a dig. Slight, denies. DeRoss, back row, Rotman off the head of Thorne. It's still alive. Gianni, Slight, Rogers pokes it over. Still alive. It's the rally of the year. Can DeRoss get there? He can. Are you kidding?
Oh my goodness.
Braden and I are out of our seats, folks. What a play. There's a conversation happening right now between Matt Worley and the down ref. We'll see if we can get confirmation.
Thorne's head that somehow managed to stay in play.
Forgot about that, yeah.
And then Thorne tried to sneak it in the back corner, just barely goes out. Stanford with the advantage here halfway through.
Slight to Rogers. A miss hit right there, so just like that, Stanford with a 2-point advantage. You hip and haw about it all, but at the end of the day, it hurts GCU a lot to have put so much effort into that point and to not get anything out of it. Snooey. Gianni from the back row, kept alive, well done. Litsky at the net, joust. Won by Stanford, but a chance for GCU. Gianni, still alive. Thorne, he's not gonna miss twice, folks. Really frustrated with himself in the timeout for hitting that one out, but that time able to compose himself and find the back corner.
Yeah, he wasn't gonna let another free ball get away from him.
Slight over. Back row from Rotman. What a dig right there from Hickman. The ball's over. Litsky. Turner looking for DeRoss. Blocked and all the way cross court out. 17-15. Stanford up 2 again.
That was an exceptional dig from Slight.
This second set eerily similar, this third set, excuse me, eerily similar to the second set. It was back and forth until Stanford claimed the lead at about the 20-point mark. And then GCU found a way to win it after chaos. We are seeing a lot of that right now. Slight for Gianni, set down Nathan Litsky. His 3rd block of the night, actually. Match.
Might be the first time they've been down 3 or more. Gotta imagine they have a game plan to get a point and get service back. Each time we felt like Stanford might have a chance to run away with things, Grand Canyon has just found a way. What a momentum builder winning set number 3 would be for Stanford. Not only for tonight, but for this entire weekend. Sunday's gonna be something else. It's gonna be an even tougher, you know, obstacle to keep their undefeated record alive for Grand Canyon.
DeRoss into the net. Not only does that help GCU get a point, but it also helps them set up whatever they were wanting to save until this next point. Carter Rogers will see if he can get going from behind the line. Roll shot. Litsky. Back row. denied! Jackson Hickman getting involved in the block party. 17-18. And time again, it feels like Stanford is creeping towards a victory, and GCU snatches the momentum. Hickman maybe would have controlled that one if he had it again. Rotman sent down. Thorne somehow, maybe a lift. Hickman to the back row. A chaotic sequence here, and Rotman ends it 19-17.
Yeah, Hickman feeling a little banged up after that one. He'll walk it off, but yeah, if he could have found a way to either spike that one back down or keep that play alive and reset something, could have tied that one up.
Slight to Hickman. Hickman comes down hobbled. Looks to the bench. We thought initially was going to ask for a sub, but looks like he's just going to walk it off.
Feeling something in his left calf right now.
Slight to Thorne. Kept alive. Litsky. Middle block. Up. Thorne can't kick it up. And so a point to Stanford, and they pick up their largest lead in any set, up 21-17.
Head coach Matt Worley going to trust his guys to figure things out without a timeout. It's now or never if they want to find a way to sweep this one.
Gianni. Big dig from DeRoss. Rotman. Another point. 4 straight for Stanford, up 5. Matt Worley going to take a timeout and discuss a little bit more. 20. Oh. Stanford certainly doing that right now.
This is a big couple of points coming up here for Sunday. I mean, Stanford, they're going to have another crack at Grand Canyon if they don't pull it off here tonight, which they still have all the possibility to do here. But if they can't close this one out, they're going to be thinking of that a lot come Sunday.
Slight to Gianni. I love that right there. Out of the timeout 3 times tonight, they've gone slight to the middle blocker. This time, Thorne goes up with the deke. They send a slide ball to Gianni. Perfectly done.
Now they're going to give another opportunity to Jared Anderson. He came in a big moment, tie ball game in set number 2, went long with it. Head coach Matt Worley is going to show us trust and go right back to him.
A better serve. Anderson almost picks up the ace. Sent down, free ball for the Lopes. Slight. Hickman, tip off the block. DeRoss keeps it alive. Well done from the back row. Rotman, too much. Lopes catch a break. And just like that, creeping and creeping and creeping. And how cool for Jared Anderson right now to come in this moment. Would be awesome if he could lead the Lopes to a couple of points here.
I just love the decision to go right back to him. Show that you fully trust in that process and maybe trying to ice him a bit here.
Jared Anderson almost had a service error on that last one. We'll see if he can get it right here. Service ace, that is. Anderson, Gianni, well done. Jared Anderson coming in right now after I misspoke. Obviously seeking a service ace, and 2 right in the same spot. Really well done from Jared Anderson. out of the timeout. Tip off the net this time. Litsky far side to Rotman. Tip off the block, and Anderson can't quite get there. Herndon will check back in, but you have bit into the lead, and now you're just down 3.
5 points almost feels insurmountable this late in a set, especially between teams of this caliber. But yeah, as you mentioned, kind of putting that lead in half. They're still on this one.
Herndon, good dig. Slight, far side. Gianni off the block. What a play from Ryan DeRoss right there. Slight to Wardlow. Back to just 2. You can feel it. You can feel the energy building.
Oh yeah, and now you got Gianni in serve. It's a big point.
Deja vu from the second set. It was 23-21. Can the Gianni step behind the service line, and the Lopes climbed the hill? Can they do it again? Felt like Everest when they were down 5 against the 2-time national champions. But right now, the Lopes possibly have the number of the Cardinal. They're picking up the phone right now. Gianni with a good serve. Litsky, far side. Rogers is there. Chance for the Lopes. Slight. To who else? Can the Gianni? Wow. Cross-court kill.
I mean, he was a solid 5-6 feet off of the net, and he places it in just the perfect spot, cross-court. He can legitimately score from anywhere.
Miscommunication between Litsky and Rotman. Nobody stepped to the ball. And now the Lopes are within 1. Gianni. Roll shot, serve! That hit the floor! That hit the floor! 23-23. Gianni ties things up. What a match we have here in Phoenix, Brady.
I mean, Gianni, night in and night out, just shows why he is the stone cold kill. Years of big time late game, late set moments right here in this very arena.
He's a gold medal winner for a reason, folks. Showcasing that right now, big moment. Gianni, can he do it again? Oh, into the net. And a smile from Camden Gianni. Will Rotman now in a big moment.
Now remember in set number 2, Stanford had a 24-23 lead. They had a 25-24 lead. Couldn't find a way. This is their opportunity to right those wrongs.
Herndon, big dig. Slight. Hickman pokes it over. Chance. Far side ball. DeRoss. Slight. A joust. And it hit the antenna, I believe, off of Slight. Or off of DeRoss, excuse me.
And that's just the veteran play of Nick Slight.
Oh, man.
He knows how to play those balls at the net better than anybody. And I don't know if there's a play that Stanford can potentially challenge here. They weren't happy about the way that one turned out.
Yeah, they are going to challenge. Slight, I believe, if we could take one more look at that replay, Slight thinks that he, off of the joust, back into DeRoss and then into the antenna, which would be a GCU point. DeRoss believes he blocked it off Slight into their antenna. Again, it matters what call was on the floor. It's so incredibly close. If it's right here, if I'm not mistaken, it hits DeRoss right there.
I don't know if that ball ever got the antenna.
And you're right, Braden. We initially had called that it hit the antenna, but I believe that was just from the net being touched, and so it's shaking it and made it look like it. But I believe that this is just a case of if that ball's in or out.
Looks like the call is going to stand.
Nick Slight's not wrong very often. I've seen a lot of times where he's pretty confident about a call, and he ends up being right more times than not. Jackson Hickman now to serve. Litsky to DeRuss, denied! Nick Slight talking that talk. 25-24. Lopes playing with some swagger right now.
It was a great receive of that serve. Stanford had exactly what they wanted, and it just came down to the defensive play of Grand Canyon.
Hickman, Litsky, back row of Rotman. Herndon digs it up, but it's out. 25-25. Everyone in the arena on their feet, but you wonder, they might be standing for a while if we're going back and forth on extra points here.
Rotman got some serious air on that one. From the back row, came flying in to get kill number 17. This one's gonna go back and forth.
Herndon is there. Herndon is there again. Gianni to Rogers, off the block. It's out. It's out.
Wow. Game of inches.
I mean, are you? Every play has been almost unbelievably close.
And I think that one could either be reviewed by the refs or just probably a smart play to challenge in general. The line judge seemingly pretty confident in that call.
Set point, match point, Grand Canyon. Rico Wardlow with a chance to end it all.
Rico's got 8 kills, 5 blocks. He'd love to finish it off here at serve.
Chance for a poetic finish. Wardlow. Right at Turner. Far side ball, DeRuss. Into the block, still alive. Set to the back corner, Rotman, what a play. Litsky, DeRuss, Slight. Antenna was touched, maybe not. Back corner, it's out. It's Point Lopes. Is that the game, or did Nick Slight touch the antenna?
The antenna definitely moved. I mean, no doubt about it. Just depends on who it got. Stanford feels pretty confident, though, that this one potentially going to go their way.
Well, this is what's so beautiful about this right now is we'll get a chance to look at it. Slight 100% touched the antenna. GCU! And and that's the match. 27-25. The Lopes find a way to win the third set, and we will have all of the post game right after this.
Grand Canyon University makes earning.
This is the most